Yes, guys, we did it. John chapter 1. I read it. I read it thoroughly, and I knew what I was reading. I don't think I've ever read a full chapter of the Bible and actually paid attention and actually focused on it. This is monumentous. This is history in the making. I'm going to read the whole Bible just like this. I can't wait to see what I become after I read it all and after I'm able to remember what it says and how I can apply it to my life. I can't wait to see my relationship with God grow, mature, flourish into this amazing thing. And I dare you to follow along, do the same thing, and grow your relationship and just grow as a human yourself. Because at the end of the day, what do I want? I want to see as many people as I can find Jesus and find God in their lives. I want to get as many people as I can to heaven. That's the goal here. Anyway, John chapter 1. Let's go through it. What we learn here? What we see? At the start of John chapter 1, it's kind of talking in the beginning, there's God and there's the Word, and He created everything, and everything was created in Him and through Him. It's like Genesis all over again, which we'll get to that. But it talks about how Jesus is the light and how John was sent to testify that Jesus is the light. In my head, when I read that John was here to testify for Jesus, kind of I thought about Law and Order, there's a witness, he's testifying, oh, this is who he is. He didn't do the crime though, he was here at this point and it wasn't him. But in this case, Jesus is guilty. He is the Lamb of God. He is the Messiah who came here to save us. Then it's kind of saying Jesus is the light. He is the light of the world. Which when I read that, I was like, he's like a lamp, and we're a bunch of moths, and we're flocking towards him because we can't resist the light. Then in verse 18, it was saying that no one's ever seen God, but Jesus is God. So we're seeing kind of God. You know what I mean? Jesus is God, just in human form. And he's like a perfect human, no sin. Then in verse 32, John drops his fire testimony. He's talking I was sent here, and I saw the Spirit in the form of a dove land on Jesus. And then he knew that was the Messiah, that was Jesus. He was who he said he was. He was God. And that was pretty fire. My whole life I've gone to this Bible camp, right? And it's a week in the summer. And at the last campfire every week, there's a testimony night. And testimony night is where you get up in front of the whole camp and you just tell everybody where you're at in your journey with God. And normally it's oh, I grew up a Christian, there's been a couple bumps in the road, but I got over it, me and God, I know that guy. He's my guy. I love Jesus. But never has it been as fire as what John just said, bro. No one's ever said the Spirit in the form of a dove came down and landed on someone. If that happened at camp, if someone said that, they would win the whole testimony night. Then after John's testimony, Jesus, comes around and he's just gathering up people. He's got Andrew, Simon, Philip, Nathaniel. They're all just gathering around him, and they just drop their entire lives just to follow him, which I think is pretty cool. It's just hey, follow me, and they're okay, we'll do it. Just why not? Which is kind of crazy. I've had to move cross country, going into 8th grade, and I found it really hard. It's I'm leaving all my friends, I'm leaving my old life, I have to start new. And it's really scary and stuff. And at the time, I was blind to what benefits I would get moving away. I would get so many new connections that really strengthened my relationship with God and with others. And at the end of the day, it really set me on the right path. And sometimes you have to leave your old life behind to move forward in life and move on to a better life. That's what I think that the disciples really saw when they saw Jesus. They're just this is the guy. I gotta follow this guy, see what he does, because I know this will be a better life for me. And for Nathaniel, the reason he decided to drop everything and follow Jesus, because Jesus just says, like, oh, I saw you under the fig tree, and I knew who you were, or whatever. And Nathaniel's like, dude, how do you even know that? Like, nowadays, if someone said, oh, I saw you in your house, like, that's kind of scary. Like, you like think it's a stalker. But in Nathaniel's case, he's just like, oh, you know me. I gotta follow you. Gotta see who you are. And then Jesus goes on to drop this absolute banger of a verse, all right? It's verse 50. I'm gonna read this one out, okay? Jesus said, you believe because I told you I saw you under the fig tree. You will see greater things than that. He then added, very truly I tell you. I love when he says, like, very truly I tell you. It makes him seem like this cool guy, that he knows what he's talking about, and that, like, you need to listen to him when he says that. Very truly I tell you, you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. That sent chills on my spine. Like, if heaven opened in front of me, I saw angels ascending and descending. Nah, dude. That's gonna be crazy, dude. If that happens, dude. Anyway, absolute banger of a chapter. John chapter 1. Tomorrow, John chapter 2. Subscribe, follow me on this journey, read the Bible.